You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up the better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of What If Naruto Meets Flash. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of pyrohelixdrago on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. 9 months ago inside STR Labs. Hey buddy, Naruto said as he handed an apple to a rather large gorilla for his age. How are you doing? He asked as the gorilla took the apple and held on to Naruto's hand desperately, not wanting him to leave. I'm not going anywhere bud, he said as he got back to examine DNA. Hello Naruto. Harrison Wells said while walking into Naruto's lab. How goes the research? He asked with a smile. Fine Dr. Wells. Naruto said with a smile as he was looking at cells with rabies in a microscope. Your connection with animals never ceases to amaze me. Harrison said as Naruto had a few animals in his lab besides Grodd. He also had a raccoon, octopus, turtle, and fox. Thanks. So how's the accelerator doing? When's it going on? Naruto asked as today was the day. An hour. Hare's-san said with a smile. I'll be there. Naruto said with a smirk. I hope so. Hare's-san said as he walked away. Hour later. DMN, I'm late. Naruto said as he then heard a large explosion and began running to the cortex but found his way was blocked, and as he took the long way around he saw an energy wave and was then hit with white lightning, getting knocked out. Few days later. How is this possible? Hare's-san said examining Naruto Namikaze along with Barry Allen, then went to his secret room and saw a newspaper article that said, Flash vanishes in crisis. Gideon, search up any references to Naruto Namikaze, he asked the AI curiously. All articles are mentions of him with animal research Dr. Wells. Gideon said, but I do see one major change in the timeline, she said, getting his attention. What? Gideon, what? Hare's-san asked and soon saw a picture of someone he didn't think he'd ever see in this time. No. Gideon, look up any information on August Hart, he asked the AI and soon turned up with nothing. 9 months later. Wow, what is this place? Barry asked, seeing a slightly messed up lab with a broken cage. This, my friend, is a lab that belonged to our other comatose friend. Harrison said in his wheelchair. What's with the animals? Barry asked, seeing a few animals. He did tests with animal DNA trying to combat certain things like rabies and the like. Hare's-san said as Naruto always liked to help animals. Barry went close to one of the cages and jumped back as a raccoon tried clawing him. Who the hell has a raccoon? He said in surprise. I know, right? Cisco said, coming in with Caitlin feeding said animals. Barry was gonna ask more but soon saw a small fox tugging his pants, so he bent down to pet it but was surprised as it jumped and kicked him in the chest, sending him flying. My bad man, forgot to tell you this guy is bionic. Cisco said as Naruto saved the little fox's life when he found it mauled one day and gave it experimental robotics. I swear, what hasn't happened here? Barry asked curiously. Not much that I can tell you with certainty. Hare's-san said with a smirk. So where is this other guy? Barry asked curiously. Everyone went to a hospital-like room and saw Naruto hooked up to many machines like Barry was. Barry felt an odd connection to him, and when he got close to him white lightning zapped him. Ow, he said, feeling a little pain. Interesting. Harrison said as he saw the white lightning unlike the other three. 9 months ago. Can you tell me where I am? Naruto asked, seeing Tsunade. I know this is not real, or at least real in the way of the real world, he asked, thinking this was both real and not real. Brilliantly deduced, my friend, it is a place you visited very briefly. Tsunade said, shifting into the third Hokage. Whenever you used the Hiraishin you passed by here for an infinitesimal moment, he said with a smile. Okay, so I'm gonna guess this is some kinda alternate dimension or something along those lines. Naruto said as he had some experiences with those. In a manner of speaking, yes. Hiruzen said, turning into Sasuke. So what is this exactly? Naruto asked, sitting down with what looked like his best friend. Welcome to the Speed Force. Sasuke said, having a kind was unnatural. Now I know you're not my Sasuke. He barely smiled at all. Naruto said with a laugh. With Naruto in the present. Naruto's eyes shot open and saw Barry over him and quickly grabbed him and choked him, unconsciously vibrating, white lightning sparking around his body. Not possible, Hara's-san thought as vibrating took incredible speeds. Who the hell are you? Naruto asked, glaring at him, feeling a little disoriented. Whoa, Naruto. Easy, he's a friend. Cisco said as he and Caitlyn ran over and tried to make their friend release his grip. Put him down, Naruto. Caitlyn said, trying to calm him down. Naruto heard a yip as his pet fox ran over and tackled him down and began licking his face. Barry coughed as he rubbed his neck. No, I'm okay everyone, thanks for asking. Barry said, seeing everyone focused on Naruto. What happened? Naruto asked, getting his fox, Kurama, off of him as he got up. You've been in a coma for 9 months. Caitlyn said. And you got super speed, like Barry here. Said Cisco. We got the same powers. Naruto said, looking at Barry, who nodded. Naruto then had a smile come to his face. 1 hour later. So let me tell you, not a fan. I look like a RETD. Naruto said as they were at an abandoned airway and he was forced to wear a ridiculous outfit. Hey, I made that, thank you. Cisco said, offended as Naruto rolled his eyes. We're here to see how fast you can run, so go. Hara's-san said, keeping a close eye on Naruto. Let's go, Barry. Naruto said, waiting for Barry, who was in red spandex. Need my own suit, he thought to himself, slightly seeing Barry's suit as a bit on the ridiculous side, but decided to be quiet for Cisco's sake. Does he want to race me? Barry asked the others, who nodded. Be prepared to lose, Junior, he said with a smirk. The two got into position as they got down, put their hands on the ground and prepared to sprint. Naruto smiled as some lightning shined in his eyes as his pupils dilated. We're the same age, so be prepared to lose. Naruto said with a smile as he and Barry took off, but after a second he sent Barry flying as a boom behind Naruto occurred. Whocho, cheered Naruto as Barry watched Naruto race around. Dr. Wells, look. Cisco said, showing Dr. Wells the speedometer in Naruto's gear was reading 423 miles per hour. That is quite possibly the fastest speed a speedster has gone after getting their powers. Dr. Wells thought, impressed as Barry clocked around 200 miles like he once did. Dude, you are so not the fastest anymore. Cisco said with a grin as he and Naruto high-fived. You have some competition. Caitlyn said with a small smirk as Naruto grinned while Barry rolled his eyes. Remarkable, Mr. Uzumaki, just as I knew would happen. Harrison said with a smile. 1 hour later. Dude, what the hell? Cisco said as Naruto was vibrating a spare of Barry's suits, making it lose all its color, becoming a pure white. I need my own suit, but I'm gonna need to make some modifications. Naruto said, immediately getting to work. Oh yeah, make yourself at home use. My workspace, it's no big deal, Cisco said sarcastically, but was shut up when he got some big belly burger. I take it back, mi casa su casa, he said, digging in. Wouldn't be the first time. Remember that prosthetic leg for that white tiger years ago? Naruto asked with a smile and a small chuckle from Caitlyn. What? Barry asked, wondering what happened. Yeah, I remember. It kicked me in the face. Cisco said as Barry laughed out loud. Why is it whenever you do something chemically it explodes in my face, or when it's robotic it hits me? Or like with your animals always throwing something or snapping at me? Cisco said, giving Naruto a look. Oh, you gotta show me footage of those. Barry said, eager to see them. Sure, second fastest man alive. Naruto said, speeding away. Wait, chemically, I thought you said Naruto only handled animal stuff. Barry said as he thought he worked in Caitlin's field of science, not both hers and Cisco's. Guy is a smart dude. I once saw him make a little generator with a toaster, wire, for AAA batteries and banana. Cisco said with a smirk, knowing that he pissed certain people off in the past. Banana? What was the banana for? Barry asked, not knowing that bananas had anything to do with electricity. Nothing, it was just to F with people's heads. Cisco said with a smirk as he always threw people he didn't like in a loop. So he's a genius? Barry asked as he was considered a child prodigy in science as a kid. In tech and biology. Cisco said with a smirk as Naruto taught him a trick or two. I honestly don't even know why we're here half the time, he said, letting out a laugh. Because Cisco, everyone is unique and contributes something. I'm sure Naruto appreciates all the help you give him. Dr. Wells said, wheeling inside. So, where'd he go? We're gonna tell him about the whole metahuman thing, right? Barry asked curiously. Not hard to guess once you know you have powers, dude, along with someone else. Naruto said, in a full-body white suit with gold lightning. Dude, your suit looks weak in comparison. Cisco said, amazed by Naruto's suit and slightly jealous. You made my suit. Barry said, throwing that at Cisco. I know. Cisco said, looking at Naruto. You can stop checking me out, dude. Naruto said with a smirk as Cisco was staring at him pretty intensely. Where did you get this idea for a suit anyway? Hare's-san asked curiously, fishing for information. No idea, I just felt this is what I need to be wearing. Naruto said with a smile. Godspeed. Hare's-san said with a smirk. Godspeed? Naruto said with a smirk and nods, liking the name. I'll use that, thanks Dr. Wells, he said with a smirk. Godspeed, that's your name, end of discussion. Way cooler than the streak, dude, Cisco said, receiving a light tap on the back of the head courtesy of Barry. Ow, easy, just messing. So Naruto, you want us to call your parents, your girls, both? Cisco asked. Wait, parents, girls? Barry asked, feeling very jealous at the mention of girls. Wait, you still live with your parents? He asked curiously and laughing a little. Yeah, got a problem with that? Naruto said with a smirk and showing a bit of lighting mixed with a small glare which shut Barry up. Blondes have all the luck, I swear. Cisco said as he currently sat there single and alone. True. Barry said, thinking of Eddie with Iris. Also, word of advice, never talk bad about his friends, parents or girls, you'll live longer. Caitlin said with a smirk as Naruto was serious about his bonds with people and remembering when someone talked bad about her. Naruto gave them a concussion and a black eye. 1 hour later. Why are we here and where is here? Barry asked, feeling this would be awkward for him and Naruto since this was a private moment and he felt slightly awkward whenever he saw parents with their kids, missing that feeling with his own. For support. Caitlin said, on the lookout for her mother as she worked close with Naruto's parents as she was the owner of Tannhauser Industries. Why am I here? She threatened to murder me. Hare's-san said, wanting to get very far away from this location and Naruto's mother. You're my shield, man, Cisco said very seriously as he had seen the damage Naruto's mother was capable of. Welcome to Whirlpool Incorporated, Barry. Here comes my mom, Kushina. Naruto said, seeing a red-haired woman approaching them. My baby boy. Kushina said, rushing to Naruto, wrapping him up tightly with a hug as she had tears in her eyes as he returned the hug, rolling his eyes. Naruto saw Barry have a small smirk. One word and I kill you. Naruto threatened very seriously. Let me call your father. Kushina said with tears as she started to look for Minato's number in her phone. No need. Minato said with a big smile as he pulled his wife and son into a hug which Naruto enjoyed as he smiled. Kurama yipped as he jumped out of Caitlin's arms as he won't let Cisco or Wells hold him. Then he rushed over to the family to join in making them laugh. Later with Dr. Wells inside the time vault. I never expected this to happen, Gideon. How is this even possible? Hare's-san asked Gideon. How is Godspeed someone else and here presently? He asked Gideon. Unknown, Dr. Wells. The variables to this occurring are due to your actions when you came here to kill Barry Allen and killed Nora Allen instead. I could not predict this. Gideon said. The Speed Force acts in mysterious ways as does destiny. Wells said with a sigh. Look for any mentions of August Hart. He asked the same question months ago, still finding nothing. This Godspeed replaced the future one, so what happens to the Flash? He said as Godspeed is the Flash's enemy. The real question, Gideon, is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze a threat to Barry Allen or an ally? He asked the AI as either was both good and bad to his situation. It seems that instead of an enemy, this Godspeed is an ally to the Flash, but his future isn't decided. It keeps changing constantly. But one thing is clear, he seems to be the only Godspeed. Gideon said as a subsection on the article kept changing, but Godspeed's name was clear. A few days later. Why are you here? Barry asked curiously as Naruto was at CCPD. Meet your new lab partner. Naruto said, confusing Barry. Nothing much to do at the lab with how things are, and my experiments take a few hours to complete, and I thought I could help you out here. I always have to have something to do to occupy my time, otherwise I go crazy, he said as he often got bored at the lab and it only got lively with Barry around. Like, is this official? Did Singh agree to this? Can you even take a job as a CSI? Barry said as he knew there were a ton of regulations and procedures needed to be done. Yeah, he did say you're always late to crime scenes. How's that possible, man? I'm always on time. Naruto said as him being a speedster made things easier. Barry said as his mind often got distracted with certain things. Also, dude, I have a ton of science credentials. I can literally get any science job I want. Not just credentials in science, I can pretty much get about any job I want. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Naruto said with a smirk. Do your parents know about? Barry said, motioning to him and Naruto. What? Sorry dude, I don't roll like that. Naruto said with a smirk and a laugh as Barry began to babble. I'm kidding, and no, I'll tell them when I'm ready. I just woke up, let them have this for a while, man. I'll tell them later, he said as he knew he wasn't in a good place to just drop this on them. I get that. Barry said as he didn't know how to tell his dad. So. See you there. Naruto said with a smirk. Where? Barry asked curiously. Break in. Naruto said with a smirk as Barry was confused. Break in where? Why would you want to break into anything? Barry asked, not hearing about it and confused. Naruto groans as he shakes his head. For a speedster you are so slow, he said as Barry trailed behind him, not being fast enough to follow as he gestured for him to follow. Few minutes later. Same shoe size, same shoe. Naruto said, talking to Barry, that's too many coincidences for a break-in, he said as he made a digital workup of the shoe. Why do I feel like I'm the assistant in this situation? Barry asked curiously. We both have our experiences, so let's contribute. Naruto said as he wanted to work with Barry and not have conflicts between each other. Besides, Naruto showed up first. Singh said, walking in, these are some witness statements you asked for, Mr. Namikaze, or is it Uzumaki, or both? I don't know, he said as he gave some files to Naruto, who stepped over the dead man's body to get to them. Either will do, I don't care, said Naruto, taking the statements and looking over them. Why do we need the witness statements? Barry asked curiously. Good to know where they went and what people saw. Keep up here, buddy. Naruto said with a smirk at the speed joke. Are you trying to help me or take my job? Barry asked curiously and a little seriously. Why do people always think that when I try to help them? Naruto mutters as he reads the witness statements. Here, a man fused with another man, he said as it was circled, but no one believed it. I know, right? Sounds like someone had too much to drink. Sing said as he walked off with a chuckle, not seeing the look Naruto and Barry shared. So what do we know? Joe asked as he approached them. Where have you been? Naruto asked. Traffic. Joe said, giving them a look. Been there. Naruto said, remembering how traffic could get a bit crazy at times in Central City. Maybe this guy can separate himself and clone himself. Naruto said, seeing the pure irony in this which they didn't catch. That sounds cool. Barry said, getting a look from Joe. If it weren't being used to kill people, he said, quickly getting looks from Joe and Naruto. Hey, just got the security cam footage downloaded. Hey Naruto. Said Eddie as he walked over and was holding a black tablet. Hey, oh, and also we're looking for people wearing a size 10 in men's shoes, said Naruto, knowing it didn't help much but limited suspects. Size 10s, hey, don't you wear 10s? Barry asked Sing, making Naruto groan. Not so fast with his feet as he is with his mouth, huh? Naruto joked, making Eddie, Joe and Sing laugh. Good work, it's a start. Sing said with a smile. I've never seen Sing smile. Why is he smiling with you? Barry said as he always thought Sing didn't like him. I'm a likable guy. Naruto said with a smirk. Maybe too likable. Mumbled Barry. Huh? Naruto said, nothing. Barry said. Take these back to CCPD, I have to check on something. Naruto said, handing Barry the papers. Naruto sped off towards STR Labs. Later. What happened to you, buddy? Naruto said as he looked at a broken cage belonging to his gorilla. I'm sure he's out there somewhere safe. Hara's-san said with a reassuring smile. Safe? Like how you thought that giving him to General Eiling as a test subject was a safe thing. Naruto said a little heatedly as he was away during that time, and even though he forgave Dr. Wells, the man lost a lot of his trust. Naruto, I thought we were past that. You took him without my say-so at all, like you thought you just could. Grodd wasn't yours, you didn't raise him as a baby, I did. Naruto said as he was looking into the certain properties of plants as for certain experiments, but found a wounded baby gorilla and an adult dead female gorilla with the baby trying to make the female move. Further down he found the body of a silverback gorilla with a gunshot wound to the head and other parts of its body. So he took the orphaned and terrified baby back home and nursed it back to help. He named him Grodd as he wouldn't answer to any other name. He also found out that he hates bananas, Cisco finding that out the hard way. I know, Naruto, and I apologized and have tried to make up for that mistake. Hara's-san said, trying to sound empathetic. Naruto let out a sigh, letting his anger fade as he didn't want to reignite this fight again. How's the case going? Barry showed up a while ago, he said, getting a look from Hara's-san. How'd you know that? Hara's-san asked curiously as they were far away from the cortex and Barry didn't pass this way. I don't know. I just felt him. Naruto said as he felt a strong connection. Remarkable, it seems like you can also sense the energy Mr. Allen makes. What would Cisco call it, speedster sense? Harrison said with a smirk, but was inwardly panicking. Can he sense the negative speed force as well, he asked, as time travel sensing could be sensed by other speedsters. Lame name, and that sounds kinda like a lame power because me and Barry are the only speedsters around. So why would I need it? Naruto said with a smirk, not seeing the purpose if it's just him and Barry. Hara's-san let out an inner sigh of relief as he was glad that Naruto couldn't sense his negative energy. Meet you there, said Naruto as he goes to speed off but groans and holds his head as he takes a knee. What the hell was that? Naruto said to himself as he shook his head and got back up, albeit shakily. Which Wells noticed. Where's Barry? He asked the others arriving in the cortex. A party with Iris. Caitlin said with a smirk as she saw it as a romantic comedy. Naruto chuckled before he got wobbly, as he used the table to catch himself, making Cisco and Caitlyn stop what they were doing. "What's happening to me?" Naruto said as Caitlyn rushed to him and pressed a stethoscope into his chest doing an examination. My Dr. Snow, I never knew you were so forward," he said before blacking out, but she caught him before he fell to the floor and she rolled her eyes. 2 hours later. "You can't yell at me, this just happened today," Naruto said as Caitlyn was giving him a look as he woke up. "Fine, but you've been experiencing this all day, something you neglected to tell us," Caitlyn said as she gave Barry a look that made him turn away in slight fear as Naruto noticed the 2 piles of IV bags undoubtedly from him and Barry. "Ha, the famous snow stare," said Naruto as he chuckled. "We're not eating enough," Naruto said with realization. "Our bodies have been burning up calories like an powerful engine burns fuel. We're not getting enough fuel in our bodies," he said as they did a lot of physical movement when running. But Barry's fainting didn't start till today. That's like a week after he woke up, and the thing with Martin, why's Naruto being affected a day after waking up? Cisco asked as Barry had a week on being awake than Naruto. "Maybe I've been using my speed more, or maybe Barry doesn't have a strong metabolism like me from before the accelerator," Naruto said as he ate a lot before but was still in shape as he burned off calories faster than others, which is why he always needed to eat a lot. "Or maybe because you are faster. Although I do agree after seeing how you eat," Cisco said, thinking that could be a variable which seemed to make Barry slightly irritable, being reminded he's not as fast as Naruto. "Who's Martin?" Naruto asked, changing the subject. "A criminal who could control the weather," Caitlyn said with a smirk, seeing Naruto's face. "He's dead," she said as it wasn't their greatest moment but it was necessary. "Like a weather wizard?" Naruto said with a smirk. "Weather wizard, nice," Cisco said, loving the name. "I missed these moments seeing the dynamic trio," Harrison said, confusing Barry. Dr. Snow, Cisco and Naruto always made quite the team, everyone always called them the dynamic trio. Harrison explained to Barry. Where's Ronnie?" Naruto asked, making the temperature in the room drop both figuratively and literally as he felt a cold breeze. "Is there something wrong with the heat?" Barry asked, feeling the same chill. "I'd go fix that hole in the building. Seriously, how'd you work with that?" Naruto said, pulling up the building schematics, trying to change the subject. "Ronnie's gone, he died in the accelerator explosion," Caitlyn said with a low, sad voice. "DMN," Naruto said sadly. "Caitlyn, I'm so sorry," he said, berating himself for not asking sooner. "It's fine," Caitlyn said, her voice betraying her, but everyone knew to drop it. "Don't tell me Snosuke is back," Cisco said, making Caitlyn blush. "I thought I told you to never call us that again," she said, making Cisco laugh. "Snosuke?" Barry asked, wondering what that was. "Before Ronnie came along, these two used to date. I'd call them that all the time just to tease Caitlyn. It was their celebrity couple name. Or what some people say, their shipping name," Cisco said with a smirk. "How close are we talking?" Barry asked, teasing as Caitlyn's blush increased as Naruto smirked. "Very," Cisco and Harrison said as Naruto and Caitlyn didn't hide their relationship. "Dang, how much action do you get?" Barry asked Naruto, very jealous as he had way less girlfriends than someone his age should. "More than most, and that's not just with Caitlyn," Cisco said, kinda jealous as Naruto. "Why'd you break up?" Barry asked curiously. "Conflicted schedules," Naruto and Caitlyn said as they felt adrift when they worked on the accelerator. They ended it on good terms. Nah, Caitlyn had some things come up and Naruto didn't want it to come between them, so he let her go. Ronnie kinda came in when she came back. "Ha, remember the way Naruto threatened Ronnie?" Cisco said with a laugh as he remembered how protective Naruto was of her when Ronnie proposed to her, threatening him if he hurt her he was as good as dead. Harrison chuckled. "That will always be etched in my mind," he said, still laughing to this day. "I didn't think a man could lift another man like that," said Caitlyn as she began to laugh, remembering the time when things seemed simpler and when Naruto lifted Ronnie like a sack of sugar. Remember when Ronnie accidentally walked into my lab when I was working with Kokuo? Naruto said as he was testing a horse. Ooh yeah, glad I wasn't the only one that horse didn't like. Cisco said as Ronnie got kicked right in his chest, something that almost happened to him. Do you have a farm here? Barry asked everyone curiously, as it seems like one with all the animals Naruto has. No/yes/kinda, everyone said, their answers changing one from the next. Wait, reel it back, the fainting thing, Naruto said as he wanted to know if his theory panned out. Low glucose levels. Caitlin said, reading their charts. Awesome, so we need to eat as much as we burn, Naruto said as they needed to make up for the difference so they could use their powers safely without risk of fainting. Yeah, so not much different than how you eat now, ramen guzzler. Cisco said as Naruto had ramen cups all over his lab as he eats tons of it just like his mother does. You need calories to burn, not empty calories, gotta get your basic food groups. So we need to fashion a diet based on your metabolic changes. Caitlin said with a smirk, seeing Naruto frown as she often stole some from him. Alright, cool, how much we talking? Barry asked as Caitlin showed him something on her tablet. If we didn't have super speed we'd be so fat, he said with a smirk as he and Naruto shared a laugh. I can make something. Cisco said, getting a blank stare from Naruto. You also said you could make ramen and didn't deliver on it. Naruto said as Cisco tried this in the past only for it to go up in smoke, sometimes literally. That was ramen, this is candy, Cisco said with a forced smile. Ramen is literally just wheat, it's like cereal, Naruto said, shooting him down. I've done a few calculations. You'd need to eat an amount equal to 850 tacos. Unless we're talking cheese and guac, which is like a whole other set of equations. Cisco said, changing the subject from earlier. Great, now I'm hungry for tacos, thanks. Naruto said, and just as he was about to run off. For Mexican, I recommend Tito's. Joe said, walking in, on Bruckner Avenue. Best burrito in the city, he said as Naruto then ran off, coming back with a bag that said Tito's. Thanks. Barry said, taking a burrito from the bag, or at least trying to, as Naruto smacked his hand. Detective West, what brings you to STR Labs? Harrison asked curiously. The crime, I'm guessing. Naruto said as he guessed Joe showing up was something new. When I couldn't find you at your lab I started doing a little research. Turns out there's been reports of a red streak around the city, stopping muggers, rescuing people from burning buildings, and now there's talk about a white or gold one. I'm guessing that's you? Joe said, looking at Naruto, who nodded. Yeah, but Speedy over here can't keep up. Naruto said, proudly, making Barry groan. He's faster than you? Joe asked in surprise. For now, Barry said, intending to close the gap. For now, he says. Naruto said with a smirk, meeting Barry's challenge. You didn't tell him we were working together? Wells asked Barry, who shook his head. Anyways, Barry, you have a job in law enforcement. I suggest you get back to it. Joe said, giving Naruto the same look he was giving Barry. He has the same look my dad gives you sometimes, Dr. Wells. Try not to die, Naruto said, knowing it wouldn't be a pleasant conversation between them. Caitlin agreed with him. Detective, we all want what's best for Barry and Naruto. Hara's-san said, trying to defuse Joe's anger. If you wanted what was best for them, you try to talk them out of this lunacy, instead of encouraging them going out there risking their lives. Joe said, not liking when close to him or young people in general risk their lives. You saw a man control the weather, what are the police going to do against someone like that? Since the accelerator explosion we think there's more out there. Barry said, arguing with Joe. And you're gonna do what, catch them? Are you insane? Barry, you think just because you two can run real fast that makes you two invincible? You're not. You're just kids, and one of them's my kid. Joe said, fearing the worst of what could happen to Barry as he gave Wells a hard look. I'm not your kid, Joe. And you're not my father. Barry said in anger. Barry. Naruto said, getting the Scarlet Speedster's attention as Joe froze from what Barry said. Family isn't just about BLD, it's about bonds. Cisco is my brother, not out of relation but bonds. You have a bond with Joe, don't throw that away, he said, as all bonds were important. My father's sitting in Iron Heights, wrongfully convicted. You were wrong about him, and you're wrong about this. Now I may not be able to help him, but if I can save someone from a burning building or stop some armed thieves, I'm gonna do it. And you can't stop me, Joe, so don't try. Barry said, getting their attention as Joe had a look of heartbreak on his face. You think you're so smart. All of you. But you don't know what you don't know. And I hope you're clever enough to figure it out before someone gets killed. Joe said, sounding heartbroken as he pointed at Wells and at Barry before leaving. I agree with Barry, we have these powers, let's put them to use, although maybe that could have gone differently. Naruto said, referring to what just happened as Caitlyn walked out. She needs time, he told himself, as Caitlyn had a hard time with risks, especially with lives, as she didn't want people to die. I'm heading home, said Naruto, speeding off. Next day. Barry and Naruto were in the lab at CCPD when Joe walked in. Here to yell at me again? Barry said, noticing Joe had papers in his hand. Simon Stagg's head of security was murdered last night. The coroner took some skin samples. Hopefully they belong to the killer. See if you two can find a match. Joe said. Can't be a coincidence that Stag's benefit was attacked last night. Barry said, as yesterday he tried to get the license plate of the van that they used but fainted. I'm going to interview Stag now. Joe said. I'll come with you. Barry said. Your job is in here. Stay in here and do it. Joe said as Iris walked in holding a cup of coffee. Why's my dad mad at you? Iris West said, looking at Barry, then noticed it wasn't just them in the room. Hi, I'm Iris West, she said, introducing herself. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, you must be Barry's girlfriend? Naruto said, feigning curiosity. No. Barry and Iris said at the same time nervously. She's not. What's wrong with you, dude? Naruto asked as Barry began mumbling like he normally did. I'm his best friend. Iris said, as it was always complicated giving Barry a label. Anyway, I'm mad at you, she said, looking at Barry. Oh, not good, Barry, although I will say, mad or not, she's hot. You really missed out. Naruto said, poking fun at Barry. Oh, I'm dating Eddie Thawne, Iris said, thinking he was hitting on her. Oh, you really struck out, Alan, guess you weren't fast enough to get the girl. Naruto said, stopping while he was ahead as Barry was giving him a look. Would you stop with the DMN speed jokes? Barry said as he was getting tired of Naruto's jabs. Geez, calm down. Just messing with you. Naruto said, raising his hands, and soon listened to Iris talk about an assignment Barry was supposed to help her with yesterday but never showed. You know, I could help you with Naruto said, as he was a scientist and his parents did have a company and they taught him everything they knew. Sorry, but I have that handled, so why don't you just go? Barry said, glaring at Naruto. Naruto, seeing that Barry was angry, just stepped back and walked off. What's up with that? Iris asked, never seeing Barry going off on anyone like that. Mr. Prodigy, Mr. Perfect, geez, I can't stand him. I've known him for at least a day and all I've heard is how much better he is than I am. Barry said, becoming a little frustrated and jealous. Since when are you so jealous? He seems nice, maybe a bit sarcastic and a little teasing. Iris said, wondering what was up with her best friend. Did you know he's dating multiple girls? Barry asked. He's a cheater. Iris asked her opinion of him dropping. No, apparently they share him and know about one another. And apparently it's more than two, because I only got 4 names from Cisco when I asked. Will Van Damme, Cara Danvers, her sister Alex, and get this, Thea Queen, and those are all that I know of. Although he and Thea just started before the whole accelerator explosion. Barry said as he then began taking in a deep breath and let it out. Will Van Damme, I know her, she has a part-time job at Jitters. Iris said, meeting the red-haired girl once. DMN, must be good in the sack if he has a HRM. Iris added, getting a surprised look from Barry. There's no good way to rephrase that, is there? She asked with Barry shaking his head. I hate you, universe. Making me single. Barry said as his DNA scan was done, showing stem cells separating. That's impossible. Barry said as he recognized the cells and the process as he saw Iris look at him in confusion. These are stem cells, they can become any cell the body needs, but they're only found in babies, he said, surprising Iris. This means your killer is what, a newborn? Iris said, not believing the words coming out her mouth. With Kushina. How's my son? Kushina said over the phone with someone as she sat in her office. With. Less boring than most people, he's actually escaped my sights a few times, a woman said, slightly impressed, wearing a black outfit with a bit of red. How's that possible? Kushina said over the phone. You're the best, she said as this woman watching her son was the best. I don't know, but I intend to find out, the woman said, hanging up. Just what are you? She said, seeing him leave a coffee shop then get a phone call, then he goes into an alley, leaving the woman's eye for a moment, and when she caught up he was gone. She glances down a street and sees a white blur running in the direction of a Stag Industries warehouse. A few minutes later, Naruto rushed into the Stag Industries warehouse and saw Barry, wearing his suit, about to be shot by 3 Danton Blacks as 2 stood to the side. Hey! Naruto said, getting their attention. Now do you mind telling me what you're doing to my red pal over there? He asked with a smirk. The Blacks point their guns at him before he speeds over and punches one of the Blacks, sending it flying into the others. Naruto sped in front of Barry. Come on, we're getting out of here. Naruto said, helping Barry get up, and the 2 speed off. At STR Labs. Barry was sitting down in a chair as Caitlin was dabbing his cuts with a cotton ball. The medicine on the ball made him wince. Sorry, the abrasions are already rapidly healing. Caitlin said. Yeah, I got my butt handed to me. Barry said. You got BLD on my suit. Cisco said, wearing a headlamp and holding a cloth. I'm pretty sure some of it belongs to him. Another not-so-friendly metahuman. Barry said. Danton Black, he's a biogeneticist specialized in therapeutic cloning. Wells said as he made Black's information appear on the monitor. Growing new organs to replace failing ones. Naruto said as Barry looked confused. Apparently Stag stole his research and then fired him. Caitlin said. I saw Black create duplicates from his own body. Barry said, getting out of the chair. That's pretty ironic. The guy specialized in cloning and now he can make Xeroxes of himself. Cisco said. If he was experimenting on himself when he was exposed to the dark matter wave released by the particle accelerator explosion dash. Meet Captain Clone. Cisco said, but from the looks from Caitlin and Naruto the name sucked. Don't worry, I'll come up with something cooler, he said as the name sounded dumb when it left his mouth. How's about, multiplex? Naruto suggested. Yes, multiplex. Man, have I missed you. Cisco said. Barry sighs as he walks away. Where are you going? Caitlin asked him as he turned back to the 4 of them. Joe was right, I am in way over my head. Yeah, I'm fast, but I am no warrior. Man, I could barely fight 1 metahuman, let alone 6. Barry said as he motions to leave. Barry, I understand, today was a setback, but any grand enterprise has them. And we can never learn to fly without crashing a few times. Wells said, trying to stop him. This wasn't a grand enterprise, Dr. Wells. This was a mistake. Besides, you have him, he's pretty much shown he's my better in every way. Barry said, pointing at Naruto before leaving. Barry, I'm not perfect. Naruto said, stopping Barry, I have problems, I make mistakes, hell dude, my best friend tried to kill me once, so we all have baggage, he said as he hated when people thought he was perfect. Yeah, we all do, but you are faster, smarter and stronger than me, this city obviously needs Godspeed more than it needs the streak. Barry said as he left the cortex. This is all my fault. Naruto said as he sat down. No, it's not Naruto, I mean you have done nothing but try and help Barry. Hare's-san said as Naruto was doing everything in his power to help Barry. I was too pushy, I just woke up and took all of his space, both here and at his work. I mean it's not my fault I pick up things quickly, or the fact my mom taught me how to fight. Naruto said as he didn't try to seem like someone was pushy or invasive. People to this day are still a complex species. Naruto, what some see as help others see as an attack. Hare's-san said as that was the truth, as not everyone saw what someone was offering the same way. All I did was tease him and mess with him as I was faster than him. Naruto said, feeling like a PP. Naruto, I have been wondering, something you don't have to answer right now, but why did you want to become a hero anyway? When we asked you, you couldn't say yes fast enough. Why is that? Wells asked curiously while also laughing a little at the thought of Barry still being called slow. Naruto smiled as he looked at his hands. All my life that's all I've done, all I wanted to do. From helping the homeless find homes, helping people with their problems, and saving animals. That's all I've ever wanted to do was help, there wouldn't be any Naruto Uzumaki without this. Now I have a way to help people in a greater way than before. I guess I just got too excited, he said as he always acted on his impulses and instincts. You are a good man Naruto, better than most. Hare's-san said as wheeled out the room. Hey, Naruto, wanna help us with this? Caitlin asked, holding a sample of BLD she collected from Barry's suit. We're gonna see how Multiplex clones himself. Cisco said as he was very excited to see how it worked. Dynamic trio on the case. Naruto said as the three high-fived. Caitlin began introducing the BLD to many proteins and other elements, and soon the BLD began to form into a copy of Danton Black. Holy SHT. Naruto said as he rushed to the clone and saw it wasn't moving or responding. We just grew a person. Cisco said excitedly. I know Cisco, and this is as close to a baby as you are gonna make. Naruto said, getting a laugh from Caitlin as the two high-five. Ha, ha, very funny. I just about forgot to laugh. Cisco said very dryly. Don't worry, I'm 90% positive I might begin the process of making a person soon just for you. Naruto said, making Caitlin blush as her mind flooded with memories and laugh a little. Do you have so little faith in my dating skills? Cisco said with a proud smirk. What dating skills? Caitlin asked as she had seen Cisco flirt and that was a train wreck to watch. Ooh, burn. Naruto said with a smile. Why am I friends with you jerks? Cisco said with a smile as he enjoyed these moments. Brain scan? Naruto asked, looking at them as he knew they were thinking the same thing. Brain scan. Caitlin and Cisco said as she watched a monitor as Cisco hooked up some headgear. Scan complete, she said as she loved how fast all the equipment worked. Call Barry, he needs to know what we got. Naruto said as Caitlin gave Barry a call. Agreed. Wells said as he wheeled into the cortex. Barry sped in and saw Black's clone. Dude, it's okay. Naruto said. No, it's not. Black is here and not doing anything. That's not him, is it? Barry asked. Why isn't it dash? Brain scans showed involuntary motor functions are active, little else. Caitlin said, already knowing he was going to ask that. Fill him in. Naruto said. Oh, by the way, I whipped up these high-calorie protein bars to keep your metabolisms up. Cisco said, holding two of them. Better not end up like the ramen Cisco or there will be words, Naruto said, putting the protein bar down. The clone began to move and they all ducked for cover when Joe fired his gun, killing the clone. Dude, what the hell? Naruto said, is that crazy? Are there any more? Joe asked as Barry then showed up. No, Hare's-san said as he showed up. The clone moved, meaning Black made more and is using them, Barry said in realization. Stag Industries, Joe said as Naruto quickly got dressed. Barry, you need to decide now, either step up or get out of the way. Being a hero is not an easy decision, and if you give up this easily, then how will you fight, stand up for others when the bad guy is gonna kill innocents, Naruto said, seeing the irony since Stag wasn't innocent. Look Barry, what Black's become, like Martin, is beyond me. Maybe beyond them too. But it's not beyond you and him. You gotta do this, I get it. So for once in your life, do what I tell you to do. Go stop him. Joe said. Barry looks at Naruto, who puts a hand out, he then smirks as they join hands. Let's go kick his butt. Naruto said as they put their suits on and sped off and made it to Stag Industries and saw the dozens of clones. I swear the universe loves irony, he thought as he used clones to overwhelm people. Caitlin, these things aren't alive, right? He asked her. Not in the sense of free will, but the original won't feel it, Caitlin said as the clones were like drones. They noticed Stag about to be shot and sped up the steps and grabbed him and placed him in a hidden place. Stay here. Barry said, speeding off to the lobby, seeing more clones. Look, we know Stag stole your research, but that doesn't give you the right to murder. Barry said as he believed in right and wrong and due process. Barry, that's not what this is about. Is it? This has nothing to do with your job. Naruto said as he walked out as the Blacks aimed guns at him. What would your wife want? He asked the clones, seeing tears come down all their faces. Would Elizabeth want you, the man she loved, to murder people in her name to justify your actions? He said as using someone's name to justify murder was never justice. Shut up. Don't talk about stuff you don't understand. The Blacks said, firing their guns, Naruto catching all the bullets. What's he talking about? What about your wife? Barry asked, a little confused before moving to dodge bullets. Dude, turns out Black had a wife. Cisco said as he looked into Black's personal information and saw she died a few months ago. She had a degenerative heart disease, been on the transplant list for years, but time was running out. So if I couldn't get her one dash, a Black clone said, struggling to speak. You were gonna make her one. Barry said in realization. Listen to me, I promise you Stag will face justice, Naruto said as he knew a way to get justice for the woman. I was so close to saving her. Till Stag stole my research so he could reap the glory for himself. And I had to bury my best friend. Now I'm all alone. Listen, we all face loss and I know it's painful, but that shouldn't stop you from living. If we try to stay in the past, we lose our chance of making a future, Naruto said as he knew what losing someone you cared for was like. Black didn't speak as he suddenly began making tons and tons of replicates. OSHT. Naruto said, moving Barry up the stairs to get some distance between them and the clones. Barry, remember to look for the fatigued one. Naruto said as the clones came up the steps. This is impossible. Barry said as there were too many clones to pick from. No, it's not. Nothing's impossible, Barry. You taught me that. You can do this. Joe said, having faith in Barry. The two looked in with the horde. They noticed one had tripped. That's the one. Naruto and Barry said as they both delivered an uppercut which sent him to the upper floor. Then they watched as the other Blacks began dropping. The two high-five as they sped up to the floor. The real Black was on. We got him, now what? Naruto asked, looking out to the city through the glass. Unknown to them, Black woke up and charged at them as they turned back, making them dodge as he went through the glass, but they caught his arms. Hang on. Barry said, trying to lift him up. No. Black said as another arm began to come out of his arms, trying to make them let go. Don't. Naruto said, knowing he was a good man that made bad choices out of pain. You promised Stag would face justice. Black said, looking at Naruto, make sure he faces it, if not for me then for my wife, he said as he forced both heroes to let him go. They watch as he drops all the way down to the street below, watching as his body hits the concrete. The two look at each other sadly. Naruto sped off, running throughout the building, then ran back to STR Labs. Few hours later. They look on the TV seeing the news report about Black. Tried to save him. Barry said. Doesn't sound like he wanted to be saved. Some people, when they break, they can't be put together again. Harrison said. Some people heal even stronger. Barry said as Cisco looked at Caitlin. I hope so. Wells said before looking at Naruto on the computer. What are you doing? Hare's-san asked Naruto curiously. Ruining Stag's reputation. Naruto said as he ironically stole Black's research from Stag and also footage of Stag rubbing it in Black's face when he stole it and fired him. You are very vindictive, Hare's-san said with a smirk. But has it coming and I'm gonna continue Black's work in honor of him and his wife, Naruto said as this research came from a strong longing to help people. We may be the one in the suits doing all the running, but when I'm out there helping people, us making a difference, you're all out there with me, I mean us, now. Finally realizing something, we were all struck by lightning. Listen Naruto, I'm sorry for how I was back in the lab and with all this, he said apologizing for his earlier behavior. It's cool man, just know I got your back, simple as that, and let me know if I'm getting too much. I'm sorry for teasing you about being slower. Didn't realize I was being a JRK. Naruto said as he knew he could be a little much at times. Let's just both say we're sorry and just move on, huh? Barry said as they then man-hugged. Anyways, I got work to do. Naruto said as he was gonna spend the night decrypting Black's research. Good luck with that, man. Cisco said as he had only a small understanding with biology. Wish I could help, Caitlin said as she was gonna go home and look over Barry and Naruto's cells. Don't worry, I got help. As Naruto went to his home to work, he didn't notice Hare's-san watching him for a moment before taking off. Next day. Ramen? Cisco said with a smirk seeing Naruto shoot up in alertness. How does that work all the time? Caitlin said with a laugh as Naruto had immediate energy whenever ramen was mentioned. Anyway, no time for chit-chat, Dr. Wells wants to see you, Cisco said getting serious. Okay, there better be cooked ramen when I get back, Naruto said glaring at them as he sped to Hare's-san seeing him look at him neutrally. We just received an offer for you. Hare's-san said keeping his neutral tone. From who? Naruto said as he often got offers from Caitlin's mom or Mercury Labs. Stag Industries. Hare's-san said as Naruto just laughed at him. Simon Stag was found dead, his daughter took control this morning, he said as Naruto stopped laughing. Something you want to say? I don't believe you did it, but I just want a second opinion, he said to Naruto. You think I killed him? Naruto asked as he wasn't one to go to bloodshed, and if he did he would have done it last night. No, that's not what I'm saying. I know you Naruto, it's not in your nature to just murder someone. Hare's-san said as he knew Naruto didn't do because he did it. Oh my god, poor Sapphire, Naruto said letting out a sigh. When do I have to meet her, he said as this wouldn't be fun. She didn't necessarily say, but from the way she sounded in the message, it sounds like she could use a friend right now. Hare's-san said as Naruto sped off to Stag Industries. Few minutes later. I have an appointment with Sapphire Stag. Naruto said to the front desk, surprised the company was open as repairs happened in the lobby. My name is Naruto Namikaze, he said as he was given the okay to go up, and when he made it to the top floor he saw Sapphire working at her father's desk. Hi, he said greeting Sapphire, who went to him and the two hugged. Hey Naruto, I wish this was under better circumstances. Sapphire said as she gave Naruto a quick peck on the cheek. Yeah, how've you been Saph? Naruto said with a smirk as they went back. I just can't believe Daddy is gone. How am I going to handle running all this? Sapphire said as she knew how to run the company, as her father had been grooming her since she could talk, but actually doing it was a whole new thing. Well, you called me here, that's a good start, Naruto said trying to raise her spirits. Yeah, I just don't know if I can handle all this Naruto. I'm not like you with your parents' company, as you know what to do. I don't think I can do this. Yeah, you can Saph, Naruto said trying to assure her. Why'd you call me over here anyway, he asked curiously. Well, you're continuing Black's research. A man my dad screwed over royally last night died here. It doesn't paint a good picture, Sapphire said as she began to shake, and after they found Daddy, stabbed I just needed a friend to talk to and if needed a shoulder to cry on, she said breaking down slightly. Oh Saph. Naruto said as he held her as she began to cry. Who would go after Stag and why? Black's dead, so who? Naruto thought as Stag pissed off a lot of people, meaning it could be any number of people. I promise you Saph, I'm going to find out who did this, and you know when Naruto Uzumaki makes a promise he keeps his word. Naruto said as he knew Stag was a major PP to everyone and did a lot of criminal acts. The one truth he did know was the man loved his daughter. Naruto and Sapphire just sat there and talked, unaware of two sets of eyes watching them, a woman from a few buildings away and something constantly shifting in between different sources of matter in the vents glaring at them. You'll be mine Sapphire, and no pretty blonde boy is gonna stop me this time, the thing in the vent said before disappearing. With your son has officially caught my interest in more ways than one, the woman said, licking her lips slightly. He does that with all women, I've come to accept this. Kushina said with a sigh on the phone with the woman. He's a lot like you Alkarmatsi Almat, the woman said walking away. You know I hate that name Nissa. I'm no longer the Scarlet Death, the name died when I left the League of Assassins. Kushina said as she left the League years ago and met Minato. We could use a leader like you, after all not many can give my father a workout, barely any of them being a woman, but he is obsessed with his heir being a man. Nissa said as her father may have his eyes set on someone as of late. I can't abandon my family, you know that. Kushina said as her family was the most important thing to her. Nissa let out a sigh as she didn't know the strong bonds of family, but Kushina was the only one she considered family, as her sister was someone she wanted dead and she didn't have a close relationship with her father. Nissa, my door is always open to you, Kushina said with a sad smile as she wanted Nissa to know and take the offer but knew she wouldn't give up the League so easily. Don't think I haven't noticed the way you've been looking at Naruto, she said as she could tell Nissa was less disgusted by him than most people she stalked and sometimes killed. I don't know what you're talking about, Nissa said, hanging up blushing. She is definitely the apple that fell far from the tree, considering she plays both sides. Then again, so do basically all of Naruto's girls, Kushina said with a small chuckle as Nissa definitely wasn't like Talia or Roz. My name is Naruto Namikaze and I am the fastest man alive. To most people I am a scientist and to a few I am Godspeed. I'm a dimensional traveler that ended up merging with my younger dimensional counterpart, got to live with my parents, live another and different life. Now I help my friend Barry Allen, a fellow speedster, helping solve and fight crime and help him find the man who murdered his mother and framed his father for the murder. I will help find whoever did it and bring justice for Barry's family, Naruto said, monologuing. Star Labs. Come on dude, break the limit, Cisco said as Naruto was at 490 miles per hour right now. How's he looking? He asked Caitlin. He just went to 550 and his vitals are looking fine, Caitlin said with a smirk. You sure there's nothing else fine to look at? Cisco said, teasing her before Caitlin hit his arm. Okay, ow, and what's Barry's current speed? He asked as Barry was on the treadmill earlier. 295, Caitlin said as Barry felt like he was too slow and often used the treadmill for a workout. How's it that Naruto is faster than Barry? Cisco asked, wondering if it was a genetic thing. The energy in Barry's cells are less than Naruto's, but I think it has to be a more physical thing, Caitlin said as she knew Naruto's body was more developed than Barry's. I think I have a theory on that, Hara-san said, wheeling inside. The energy in Naruto's cells is much purer than Barry's, also his cells are releasing more energy like Caitlin suggested, but their physical bodies also play a factor as Barry is apparently slow without his speed while Naruto runs at a faster than normal pace, he said as he examined Naruto and Barry's physicals and bodily performances. Why is that? Cisco asked curiously. Remember how Naruto was still inside the building when the accelerator exploded? Hara-san asked them, getting nods from. I believe that when it exploded a small part of the energy that was expelled went to him and struck him with a more purer and stronger bolt of lightning than the lightning that struck Barry. The energy increased his body to this point, he said as he checked the footage of that night with Naruto. The purer and stronger the bolt, Caitlin said. The faster the speedster is now. Normally I theorize that with time Barry could reach that level, as I believe speed plays into the color of lightning. Notice how Naruto has white lightning while Barry's is yellow, he said, getting their attention. Are you saying their lightning may change? Cisco asked curiously. Maybe due to something changing in their bodies since it comes from them. Lightning from storms changes due to different factors like gas. Theirs may change due to things like DRGS or something like that in their body's cells, Hara's-san said, as he knew certain speedsters that attempted that. So you're saying their lightning is a sign of their speed, like the wavelengths of light. The more pure the lighting the faster the speedster, and white is at the end of wavelength, right? Cisco asked curiously. Yes, but also the color may not have anything to do with it, like say Mr. Allen reaches Naruto's speed with his lightning is possible, but he'd be faster if he had Naruto's lightning. Then does it represent how fast a speedster can go? Caitlin asked curiously. Yes, I theorize that to be true. It could be why Naruto seems capable of reaching speeds Barry can't, Hara-san said with a neutral look. Oh, this just got cooler. Cisco said with a smirk. Indeed. Hara-san said, ready to do further testing. I wonder, how could this affect his family? Like if he has kids, will they gain his powers? Caitlin said in wonder. Wells and Cisco look at her, is Snosuke really gone? Cisco said with a smirk before running as Caitlin jumped at him. Hey guys, gotta take off. Barry said the mob was poisoned. Naruto said as Barry called him. Is this gonna lead to another meta? As it's been like a week and no offense, but I am kinda bored. Cisco asked curiously. True, but I rather enjoy the peace, it lets me train. Something I've been trying to get Barry to join. Naruto said as he got dressed in his regular clothing. I sympathize with you, and considering who you are, you could teach him a thing or two since you are clearly someone that can help get Barry to run faster, Hara-san said as Naruto was in perfect health before the accelerator blew. Thanks, gotta go, Naruto said, running off. With Barry. You're right, this is odd, Naruto said, with how the bodies of the mob bosses were. Gotta be a meta, but if they controlled or made gas it would act like a regular mist, and like you said these guys look like they were taken on one by one, he said as he knew how gas vapors worked and these didn't match up with gas bombs. The boss fell by the table, that one made it 10 feet away, this one had the chance to fire 3 shots trying to break the glass. Barry said, pointing to 2. My gut feeling, if we're gonna solve this, we're gonna need backup. Joe said as the 2 know what he was hinting at. Few minutes later. Barry and Joe watched as Naruto, Hara's-san, Cisco, and Caitlin nerded out about the meta's ability with gas. And I thought I was nerdy, Barry said as he watched the interaction. You are, but this is next level stuff, Joe said with a smirk as he and Barry shared a laugh. Hey guys, I gotta go, Naruto said as he sped off. Where's he off to in such a hurry? Barry asked curiously. Knowing him a date, Cisco said with a sigh, it's guys like him that make it hard for guys like us to get any women, he said, getting a nod of agreement from Barry. What, his girlfriend super hot? Joe asked curiously. Girlfriends and all of them, yes, Cisco said loudly, clearly jealous. I swear I need some of that magic, he said as he had been single for a while. Make sure he doesn't try that with Iris, Joe said to Barry. Not interested, Barry said as he asked Naruto about it before, and it was a little comforting to know. With Naruto. Hey, Naruto said, seeing Will climbing out the pool as she had just finished doing laps. Hey, Will said as she took the towel Naruto had in his hands. How's training? Still want to be an Olympic swimmer, Naruto said as he smiled as he wondered when or if Will would remember him, as when they came here she didn't know about their first life. Great, and you know it, Will said, drying herself off, and walked over to him, giving him a small kiss. How's your mom? Naruto asked as Will's mom worked for an electrical division of his mother's company and Will worked with her among other jobs to get by for herself and Will. Still can't believe how much money that but took when he left. Will said as her dad ran out on them, taking a lot of money from them as he ran off. Hey, let's not talk about him, you know how worked up you get when you talk about him. Naruto said as he walked her to the locker room and stood outside waiting on her. Will went inside the locker room and went to the bathroom and blew her hair from her face, not seeing the small static charge in her red locks. Few minutes later at Jitters. Taking me to a place I work at for food while you're cheap, Will said as employees got a discount on food. I know, plus we couldn't go far, you have a shift soon, right? Naruto said as they sat down. Hey Will and Naruto, right? Iris said as she wanted to talk to Will about her relationship with Naruto. How's it going? Hey, I heard about that blog of yours. Will asked curiously. About what? Naruto asked, sipping his coffee. Your honey bun obsession Barry told me about, he said, putting the cup down. I am going to hurt Barry. The streak smart guy, the red and white streak somehow mysteriously saving people, Iris said in excitement. Thought of giving them names? Will said, the streak sounds kinda lame and sounds like someone whose power is to run around naked, she said with a smirk and a chuckle. How about for Godspeed for the white one and the Flash for the red one, Naruto said as Barry told him that someone once told him he could be a guardian angel being there in a flash. Now that sounds like a badass name, and Flash really? That sounds like someone whose power is to hide in alleys wearing a trench coat. Will said, trying to suppress a laugh. Just at that moment you sounded like Cat Grant. Naruto said with a laugh as Kara's boss was harsh with certain names and titles. Godspeed, I am so using that, thanks. Iris said, taking an early break, and grabbed her computer. Can see why Barry likes her, Naruto said as Iris seemed passionate about writing. Iris stopped and turned to them, hearing that. Oh. Naruto said as he felt like he should have kept his mouth shut as he saw Iris walk away. Few minutes later. Whoa, you got here fast, Sapphire said as she called Naruto a few minutes. Hey, you know, when a friend needs me I drop everything, Naruto said as officially Stag Industries was partnering up with STR Labs on genetic developments, and his mom and Sapphire talked about making a partnership with Whirlpool to help her out as she's new to all this. Thanks again for talking to your mom and dad, Sapphire said gratefully with a smile. No thanks needed, Naruto said with his own smile. Anyway, what was your dad's plan for Black's research? I mean, I can't find anything in the science division, he asked curiously. A problem my dad had was he often jumped the gun and didn't plan ahead, as no scientist here fully understood Black's research, she said as even she knew that was a dumb plan, stealing from a person who was the only one who knew to use it. He only made it so far with Black's previous experiments, she said as she paid for the man's funeral and went with Naruto to pay respect. Naruto looked as her smile wavered as she mentioned her dad. Hey, remember how you wanted me to look through and see if your dad was looking into some dark stuff, like weapons and stuff? Naruto said, pulling out a folder. She grabbed the folder and opened it. Project Metamorpho, she asked, never hearing that name. Apparently your dad was preparing to make something big, Naruto said as many things on the file was darkened out. What's so dangerous about it? Sapphire asked, wondering what her father had done. No idea, besides something about molecular reconstruction, Naruto said as he did find some computer simulations where they used a gas chamber on things like metals and fruit and they all changed to different sources of matter. Molecular what? Sapphire asked, not scientifically smart like Naruto. Apparently this stuff could change something and grant it the ability to change its molecular structure into anything, hell, even kryptonite. I think your dad was looking to give this to the army. Naruto said as he saw Stag had a government meeting in the past and Ealing was a part of it. My dad was planning on making super soldiers. Sapphire asked as that was the dream of many scientific research divisions with the government. And probably make a fortune by doing so. I don't know a lot as there was a lot of stuff really encrypted in the file, it could take me some time to figure out everything. But something like this? We are talking about something that could potentially kill Superman if someone with this stuff wanted to. Naruto said, seeing how serious this Metamorpho substance was. Jesus, Sapphire said in surprise. The thing is, this stuff is introduced as a gas. Meaning something has to breathe this stuff in for it to activate. Could you imagine what someone could do with this power? Naruto said, also wondering if they'd survive the process, as this process was clearly unstable. Have you found if there's any of this stuff out there? Sapphire asked curiously. No clue. Reports were sent to Stag directly via company email, and the file I got on a location is too heavily encrypted. Naruto said, as he knew this stuff was dangerous. Meaning the only person who knows is dead. Sapphire said, as she wondered what kinda man her father truly was at this point. Yep, Naruto said, as they need to keep looking. I just hope nobody was exposed to this stuff. What could we even do against someone like that? Sapphire asked curiously. All matter has a weakness, and if a person even survived it to begin with, since the possibility is real low, Naruto said, as he was thinking less than 5%, they'd be weak against acids if a solid, or breaking apart with vapors, he said with some ideas. Enough of all this serious talk, let's talk about something else. Sapphire said, how about we talk about how easy the company is going to be with your parents helping me, she said, as she was working real close with Naruto's mom and she was very pleasant to work with. I know. Considering how you are, must be rough for a girl like you to handle all this, Naruto said with a smirk. What's that supposed to mean? She said, as Naruto raised his hands, not going to say anything else. Nothing at all. Naruto said with a smirk. He then smiles as he looks at her. It's nice to spend time together with you, we usually don't get that many moments nowadays. Remember when we hit our teens and your dad gave me the protective dad thing? Now listen here, young man. Naruto said, imitating Stag when he gave him that talk before, laughing as he couldn't keep going. Oh man, you haven't changed since we were kids. Sapphire said with a small laugh. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Naruto said, as they messed around having stupid fun. How's Will, is she alright? After what happened that night, I almost thought she was dead. Sapphire said, as she and Will weren't as social as she liked but always talked via cell phone. What? Naruto asked, not understanding what she was talking about. Apparently her and her mom were working on some generators when the accelerator exploded. Some people were talking about how they got electrocuted. Thankfully they shut off the power before some major voltage could happen, and something about something they had being RBB. I didn't ask much as I didn't want her and her mom freaking out or anything. Sapphire said, not wanting to pry too deep into something like that. Looks like I'm not the only one keeping secrets. Naruto thought, wondering what was happening with his red-headed girlfriend. Well, I have a meeting in an hour, it was nice seeing you again. Sapphire said, giving him a hug and a kiss before walking away. Naruto sat down and took out his phone and decided to text Caitlyn to see how she was doing, as he knew she was still grieving over Ronnie's death. You died a hero, man, that's more than most people can say, he thought as he missed his friend. Hey Snowflake, what are you doing? Naruto said as Caitlyn called him instead of texting him back. You know I hated that name. Caitlyn said over the phone, letting out a small laugh. No you didn't, now Snowball, on the other hand, you did. Naruto said as he smiled, liking to hear her laugh. What's up? He texted her. Little bored and wanted to see what you were up to. Naruto said as he walked out of Stag Industries. Hey Naruto, Minato Namikaze said as he saw his son. Hold on, it's my dad. I'll call you back. Naruto said, hanging up on Caitlyn. How are you doing, Dad? He asked as they found a bench to sit down on. Fine, why, what's up? Did something happen? Minato asked curiously as he often fawned over Naruto after his accident. No, you know I can take care of myself. Naruto said as he let out a happy sigh as his father worried too much. Naruto, I almost lost you, me, and your mother. We tried everything we could do to wake you up, but... Dad, don't do this to yourself. Naruto said as his father felt guilty not being able to help him when he was in his coma. The father and son embrace each other. Oh, it is good to hold you in my arms again. Minato said with a tear coming down his face. Wimp. Naruto said as he and his mother often teased him. One of the smartest wimps on the planet. Minato said with a prideful smirk. The smartest wimp on the planet, after Mom. Naruto said as his parents were equally smart but liked to mess with them, telling the other parent was smarter. Hey! Minato said before the two laugh. Naruto then had to leave and called back Caitlyn. Minato just stared at his son leaving till he was no longer visible. Glancing around him, he walks into a ally. He then looks to see if the coast is clear before disappearing in a yellow light, then reappearing in his lab. That's getting easier to do, he said as he examined his cells, seeing them shine similar to energy. Time to run some more tests, he said as he took BLD from himself and began testing himself. As he was looking at his DNA using the microscope, two arms came around his shoulders. Hello honey. Kushina said, kissing his neck. So how's Naruto? Did you tell him dash, she asked, but Minato cut her off. That I can manipulate energy and that you've been given enhanced skills and strength? No, Ms. Former Ninja. Minato said as he hated keeping secrets from Naruto. Hey, you love it. Kushina said with a smirk. Not as much as I love you. Minato said, turning around and began kissing her. How goes the training? Kushina asked as she gave him a list of exercises to do, and like their son he went above and beyond. Well, I didn't blow anything up this time, so there's that. Minato said with a smirk as there had been a few instances with his powers. Did Naruto tell you yet? Kushina said as Nissa soon found out about Naruto's activities and told her, and she instantly told Minato, and they followed news feeds and rumors and reports of the white streak, now deemed Godspeed, on a certain site. No, and I'm not going to pry, he'll tell us when he's ready. Minato said as he felt a little guilty they found something out like this, as it wasn't their business to pry. I don't know, I'm just worried about him. Kushina said as she was unbelievably proud in her son's choices, but that didn't stop the worry. Kushina, you need to quit babying him, he's our son. He's got my brains, well, our brains and your brawn. He can take care of himself. Minato said, having complete faith in Naruto. Minato, he's our baby. No matter how old he is, he'll always be that to me. Kushina said as she felt worry for Naruto, and despite her years as an assassin hardening herself, her husband and son were the chinks in her armor. Well, you could always help him. Minato said as Kushina trained Naruto in many martial arts as he grew up. Just as you could, but remember we decided not. We haven't exactly been honest with him either, as we have powers. Well, you have powers, everything I got just got boosted. Kushina said as gold chains erupted from the ground. I swear I don't understand how science affected my magic, she said, still not understanding that. I wouldn't worry, magic is just another form of science that has yet to be explained or completely understood, Minato said as he had full faith in science and didn't believe in actual magic. Anyways, power talk aside, we have a meeting with Sapphire Stag to be at in 15 minutes. Shall we, dear? Kushina said with a smile. We shall, honey. Minato said as they locked arms and Kushina put her head on his shoulder. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author pyrohelixdrago on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.